Welcome back. In this week's video, I wanted to discuss how you can integrate Nudge and Addigy. If you're not familiar with Nudge, it is an application that will notify your users or nudge them when updates are available. It can be a really powerful tool in a lot of situations, especially if you have users who tend to not upgrade using the normal methods or tend to miss the notifications that come from Apple when you're using just the regular DDM and MDM update systems. To start us off, there are two pieces of things we'll need to deploy. One is just the application itself, which you can get as a PKG and we'll upload to Addigy. And second is a configuration profile. Now, there is a ton of information on their GitHub of how to actually configure and deploy it. Today, we're going to be focusing on how to deploy it using Addigy. First, let's talk about the application itself. You can get that from the GitHub as well, just by going to the latest release page here. I would recommend using the Essentials version. That gives you the launch agent and the app itself. That way the app will load on startup. You can also use the suite to push out the application, the launch agent, and the logger. You can also push these all out individually as well. Once you have that package, we're going to go over to Addigy and we're going to go to our catalog and software and we're going to click new. We're going to call it Nudge and put in the version. And we're going to upload our file. And we're going to use the Essentials version just for this. We're going to upload that. And we're going to select. And we're going to wait for it to detect the app so we can create a PPPC for it. We're going to click install command. That'll get it to run the package. We're going to create that PPPC. We're going to go ahead and just take a look at that real quick. And say that all looks good. If you want, you can add conditions to make sure that if it's already installed, it's not going to overwrite it. You can do that by putting in the file path to the application. In this case, that's applications, utilities, and nudge.app. And we're going to say our version is less than 2.012. And go ahead and install the app if it's not there. We can go ahead and save that. The other thing you'll want to make sure is the install order. So for this, software by default is a 10, which is the last thing that'll happen on the install order. And that's fine. That's what we want. What we do want to make sure is when we upload the profile, it is less than a 10 so that the profile is there before the app gets installed. You don't have to do it this way. It streamlines the process a little bit. So the profile is waiting when the software gets installed and the first time it opens, it sees the profile. So next we want to go and create our profile. Now you could certainly write this yourself in XML using the documentation from here. You can also download a copy of it from here in GitHub. I find the easiest way to do it though is the iMazing profile app. And if you've ever used this app, I do highly recommend it, especially for more complex profiles and profiles for third-party apps that Addigy may not have built by default. There is a ton of stuff in here that makes it a lot easier to build profiles for. So we can go here in this list and just scroll down till we find Nudge and add a configuration profile. And here is where you'll be able to set your update settings. Now, like I said in the beginning of the video, there are a ton of different options and things you can add to the Nudge app. And I do recommend you spend some time and really sit down and go through these and determine what the best feature set is for what you're trying to accomplish specifically. And if you're looking for someone to kind of help you walk through that, that's something we'd love to help you out with. And you can contact us with the information I'll put at the end of this video. So once you have your settings in there the way you want them, you can save that profile. I'm going to save it to my desktop. Once you have that profile, we can go back into Addigy. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go to MDM profiles and new. And we're going to click custom profile. We're going to make sure it's only for Mac OS, and we're going to go and select our file. And again, we want to make sure, so in this case, the installation priority is a 9, which is what we want because we want it to be slightly less than our software. That is the default. So in that case, that works well for us. We can go ahead and click create profile. and you would deploy both of those things to your policy as needed. For this kind of situation, I've talked about in some of my other videos about flex policies. This is another great scenario to use a flex policy to say if you're going to run Mac OS updates and you want to do it by client, or you want to do it for computers only running a certain other version, that's a great use case for a flex policy as well. And once you have those two things deployed, depending on the settings you set for Nudge, you'll see screens on the user's computer that look similar to this based on your parameters. The user will basically have so many deferrals and so many days to run the updates if they have updates available, in which case they'll be able to run them. That's it for today's video. If you have any other questions about Addigy or MDM or using applications like Nudge in your environment, that's something we'd love to help you and your business come up with solutions for. I can be reached at Marshall_CIT on the Mac Admin Slack channel, marshall@cranstoninc.com via email, or on our website, cranstonit.com. You can also drop your question as a comment on this video, and I will try to answer that in a later video. Thanks so much for watching.